to come forward at all. Number one, are you getting any reaction at all from his team? Do you believe he followed the strategy he intended to follow today?
Well, two things, George. So far, his team is not providing any commentary on how things are playing out so far. What I can tell you based on some conversations with other people close to him is that his strategy was to stay within the confines of the report. And as my colleagues have said, he was not going to stray from that. He is a person of a different era. He's a person unconcerned with his public demeanor, if you will. One person I just spoke to a few minutes ago who worked with him a long time said that it was a difficult position simply because Mueller was not going to go and play politics either way, just was not going to do it. And he knew that because of that, in today's modern era, it might not come across as particularly polished. He also said that as a older person, he's not the man that he was 10 years ago, but he says that his mind is still very strong and that he believes that Mueller conducted this appropriately and with integrity. He
also absorbed a lot of attacks on his integrity and the integrity of his team. The questions about whether or not he had biased people on his team, people who had donated to Democrats. At one point, finally, towards the end of the hearing, after passing by many opportunities to respond, he did respond.
Can I speak for a second?
Now, ABC 7 News at noon, on your side.
And right now at noon, of course, former special counsel Robert Mueller is about halfway through his back-to-back congressional hearings on the Russia investigation. As soon as he comes back, we're going to take that live. Now, Mueller appeared first before the House Judiciary Committee. Next, he's going to testify before the House Intelligence Committee. And Trevor Ault is showing us what has happened so far.
Today, Robert Mueller in the hot seat, enduring hours of questions in a meticulous and tension-filled House Judiciary Committee hearing.
I believe a reasonable person looking at these facts could conclude that all three elements of the crime of obstruction of justice have been met. And I'd like to ask you, the reason, again, that you did not indict Donald Trump is because of OLC opinion stating that you cannot indict a sitting president, correct?
That is correct.
House Democrats frequently reading directly from the report and seeking Mueller's confirmation, as they cited several instances where the special counsel found the president benefited from Russian meddling.
Did your investigation find that the Russian government perceived it would benefit from one of the candidates winning?
Yes.
And which candidate would that be?
Well, it would be Trump.
Correct. Now,
but Mueller stopping short of saying the president obstructed justice, referring to the exact language from the report more than 20 times.
I refer you to the report.
He frequently did so when questioned by Republicans, many of whom were far more aggressive, defending the president from what they feel was an unfair and inaccurate portrayal.
What he's doing is not obstructing justice. He is pursuing justice.
Others criticizing the legitimacy of the special counsel report, arguing Mueller had overstepped his role as prosecutor by detailing potential crimes the president was never charged with.
Donald Trump is not above the law. He's not. But he damn sure shouldn't be below the law.
Today, Mueller's defending his report against criticism. He told representatives he doesn't think that they've seen a report as thorough, fair, and consistent as the one his team put together. Mueller's continuing his testimony this afternoon in front of the House Intelligence Committee. Trevor Ault, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
And developing right now, Puerto Rico's governor, Ricardo Rossello's office, is disputing multiple news reports claiming that the embattled governor will resign today. Already facing calls to resign amid a corruption scandal, those calls grew after the disclosure of text messages between Rosello and top government officials. Well, the messages contained homophobic and sexist slurs, as well as jokes about victims of Hurricane Maria. Covering D.C., where police, they're looking for a person of interest in this video. So take a look. It's at the right side of your screen right there, highlighted. And you see that smoke? Well, police say that that person was shooting fireworks directly at an officer on July 4th. This happened on 4th Street Southeast near Chesapeake. That person is now wanted for felony assault on a police officer. Your Washington Redskins check in for training camp today down in Richmond, and there will be plenty of new faces heading into the season. Rookie quarterback and Maryland native Dwayne Haskins is looking to make his mark on a franchise that has had major issues at the position due to injuries over the last 2 seasons. He'll be competing with Case Keenum for the starting job. The Skins are also looking to make the playoffs for the first time since 2016. All right, so we've been focusing especially on the Mueller hearings, which is a windowless room. I'm watching it in a windowless room. What does it look like outside? Has the sun even come up?
It is.
Is it gorgeous?
It's so nice.
Are we
out
missing
there.
out?
Yeah, you need to get out and enjoy it, at least for lunch. Then you can get back to all that stuff. But, you know, right now we're looking at low humidity, plenty of sunshine. There's a possibility for a couple of afternoon showers. Still have some weak upper-level energy. Right now, just some patchy cumulus clouds looking back over the tidal basin from the Mandarin Oriental Hotel. Beautiful, though, is what it looks like. Temperatures, it feels nice as well. 82 degrees at Reagan National Airport, 79 Manassas, 79 Leesburg. You see 77 degrees right now in Leonardtown. Now, we'll continue to see temperatures hanging around the 80-degree mark over the next hour or so. I think getting into the low